welcome to another video. So this one is a little bit different. I did a couple of these ages ago, but thought that this would be a good kind of concept to use with these Aurora Flakes. So I thought I'd do one of my 5 ways to videos. So it's going to be 5 ways to use Aurora Flakes in like different kind of techniques and styles and stuff. So I'm hoping it will be useful to you. And Aurora Flakes are a similar kind of product to Gilding Flakes. So if you have any Gilding Flakes, you can do the same kind of techniques with them as you can with Aurora Flakes. But the really cool thing about Aurora Flakes is it kind of looks like foil rather than metal, and you have them in all these cool wacky colours. I've got 5 of the brand new release from Cosmic Shimmer for the Aurora Flakes, and these ones actually now have 3 different colours inside them. The previous release of Aurora Flakes were a mix of 2 different colours, and they were all like a colour and silver or a colour and gold, or there was one that was pink and red as well. But now you've got 3 different colours inside them. So I think this is my absolute favourite one. It's called Amber Glow, and it's got red, pink and orange in there, and it's so pretty. I haven't actually used any of these yet. I've just been admiring them in the pots and figuring out some cool techniques to show you as well, but I'll run through these colours. So Amber Glow, we've got Festive Jewel, which looks mostly gold from the outside of the pot, but it's got green and red in as well, so it's absolutely perfect for Christmas. It's already got all of those traditional Christmas colours mixed in there. Then you've also got, or I've also got, the Icy Lagoon Aurora Flakes. I love this one. It's got blue and green and silver, and I automatically thought of the world with this one, because it's got like the land and the sky and clouds, you know, with the silver. So I really want to do something sort of earth based with this one, not necessarily in this video but eventually. Then this one is really patriotic because it's called Royal Sparkle, which is very appropriate because it is all red, white, well, red, blue and silver, so it's kind of red, white and blue. But it's got the silver in there instead of the white. But really, really gorgeous, this one. Lovely mixture of colours. And then the final one I've got is the Passion Pop colour, which has got purple, blue and red in it. It's really cool. I'd love this mixture. I can't wait to see what they look like actually applied to a card. But I think these 2 are my favourite. If I had to choose out of the 5 that I've got, I definitely think these 2 are my favourite. They're so gorgeous. And I've got loads of different things to show you of like just, I'm kind of putting it in an order of simpler to more complicated. So the first way of using these gorgeous Cosmic Shimmer Aurora Flakes is using them with double-sided adhesive. So you can either use them with the double-sided adhesive sheets that Cosmic Shimmer make, or you could use any kind of width of normal like double-sided tape that you would use, or any widths of red liner tape as well. Any kind of tape will hold these flakes on them, which is really nice. So that is just like the basic, most generic way that you could use these flakes, is just literally sticking them onto a sheet of adhesive or a strip of adhesive. Okay, so I've just got a piece of scrap card here, so I can show you all these different ways of applying them. So with the double-sided sheets, you just pick off one side of the backing and then you can stick it straight down onto here. And also once you have, there's 2 different ways of using this method but with dies to create it a little bit, you know, to give it a little bit more interest than just a flat panel of all of these gorgeous designs. You could die cut now, so you've stuck the adhesive to a piece of thin card. You could die cut now and get your shape, but then peel the backing off and add your flakes, or you can peel the backing off, add the flakes and then die cut it afterwards, depending on what kind of die you're using. If you're using something that is more of like a basic open shape, you could die cut now and it would be like really simple. Or if you're going to use something that's like quite a bit more intricate and has got more detail and fiddly fine areas, you will probably want to add your flake to this whole little panel and then die cut it. I'm not actually going to show die cutting because there's so many other different things that I want to show you, but that is a way if you actually want a die cut to have the flakes on it, but there's also another way of using die cuts with the flakes too. But that is just the double-sided sheet. I hope I don't go off on too many tangents, but I've just got so many things to share about these flakes, so I wanted to try and do some kind of video that sort of puts it all together. But anyway, so that is the double-sided sheet. That is a wider double-sided tape, and let's put a narrower one as well, just to show different widths. And I'll also put some red liner tape on here too, just to show you. And let's go for a really wide one too. Okay, so there's a few different tapes for us to try, but another way that I love using these Aurora Flakes, you might have seen my video, it was when the first lot of Aurora Flakes released, so I think it was the beginning of this year, maybe like January, February time, and I did a card that had this gorgeous panel on it, and it also had a little pink ink fairy on a snail. You might have seen that. If not, I will try and link it as one of the videos at the end so you can go back and find it. But I actually used the flakes in conjunction with the glitter, which will be my next second thing. I will show you that. But I just really liked how it turned out with this die cut, so I'm using this die cut again. But just to show you how you can, instead of die cutting and getting your design with the flake, you can actually just take a larger piece of the double-sided adhesive sheets, stick it onto your card, and then pull the backing off and add your die cut over the top, and then add your flakes as well. So this gives another sort of different effect that you can like really quickly and easily create a background. And then similarly as well, I told you there's loads of different things. I haven't even put any flakes down yet and I'm still yapping on. But anyway, similarly to doing this kind of technique, you can actually do this with a stencil and peel it off and then put glitter or another colour of flake on it. Or if you don't have any stencils, you can also save this backing sheet from the double-sided adhesive and die cut this from any dies and then stick that on, and it sort of acts like a stencil, and you add the first colour of flake, then you would tap off the excess, remove this and put the second colour. I might show you that next in the second use of these when I combine it with glitters, but I just thought I'd mention that now, so I'll save those pieces in case we want to do that. So let's show this piece first. So this is just basic adding it onto a wide area of the double-sided adhesive sheet. I'm just going to put that back on there so I don't get flakes all over that. And I'm also going to work on some scrap paper. These flakes are kind of messy, but that's the whole fun of crafting really, getting messy with like all these gorgeous glittery products. I am going to try and use a Pledge dry dusting cloth to see if that does help, because they're just very staticky, I think. I don't know whether a tumble dryer sheet would help as well, or just like the woodware anti-static tool. I'm not really sure, but we'll give it a go after we've got messy and see if we can reduce the amount that sticks to us or anywhere else on our work surface and stuff. But anyway, what colour should I go for? I really want to see how this Royal Sparkle comes out, so I'm going to do that on this one to see a bigger area of it. So where is the end of the tape? There we go. So they put this tape around it just to make sure they're not going to get undone in transit. It's really gorgeous. You could actually save this and use it on a project because it's got this gorgeous design on it. But they do that so that it's not going to get everywhere in transit. So we want to be careful. You don't want to like heavily breathe or sneeze or have a fan on or air conditioning or anything when you're working with these, because they are a little bit mischievous and will sort of go everywhere. And you're literally just going to use them just like Gilding Flakes. You're just going to sprinkle them onto the adhesive and rub it into place. And it's really lovely, this. You actually get a really nice mix of all the different colours. So I've put that little bit out. I'm going to put the lid back on before we have any accidents. And then I'm just going to press these into place. And you can see you've got some smaller little flakes in there and some larger flakes as well, to give you a kind of variation within the pattern and everything that you get. And obviously you're never going to be able to recreate the exact same pattern either. It's always going to come out differently because of the randomness of the different sizes and colours of the flakes that are in there. But that is really stunning with the 3 different colours. And if you want to burnish that in more, I've got 2 little pieces that I've been using. I might contaminate them, but anyway, it's the Ranger Rub It Scrub It. It is kind of a slightly expensive product, but these are the pieces that I've been using. I kind of keep 2 out, and I can probably get another like 9 of these out of this, and I gave some to my mum as well, so I'd already got 4 out of this. So you can get a lot of little pieces out of that one packet, and I think this is the best thing for using with Gilding Flakes or the Aurora Flakes as well. And you can see how much more you're getting off of there, because you're really like burnishing the excess off. And it kind of means that not as much would come off in the recipient's hands as well when you're using it on a card, which is great because some people don't like getting glittery. Okay, so that is this beautiful, what's it called, Royal Sparkle. Yeah, really lovely, this one. And let's have a look with, this is one of those Pledge dried, oh, it is kind of working, the Pledge dry dusting cloths. They do kind of get it off of you. I want to see if it comes off of, yes it does. So if you've got it anywhere like on the backing of things and stuff, you can actually use one of these dry dusting cloths to try and get rid of some of the mess, which is great. So let's just tidy this up. I'm not actually going to pour these back into that pot because I've just realised some of the copper from my sponge has gone in there. So I'm going to get an extra pot and put them in, so I'll be back. I couldn't find a pot right this second, so I've just got a plastic cup, and I'm just going to hope that I don't knock it over. But I'll just keep all of my excess pieces in here, I think, and then we could always at the end see what this looks like actually. And then I'm not sure if that's all going to come off the paper, but I'm going to tip it in the bin. And it's gone on the floor. So I might just turn that over so I'm not going to contaminate anything else. And then let's do these 4 different widths of tape here. So these are just 2 normal, normal double-sided adhesive that you would use in your card making. And these are the stronger red liner tape, but both work equally as well. Just depends like what width you're going for and what width of which tape that you actually own. And for this one, let's do the Passion Pop. See what that looks like. Oh, I need to take the tape off. So you can tell that I haven't actually used them yet because the tape is still on them. So let's see what this one looks like. Oh wow, that purple, I'm so glad I got a new camera because you can actually see that gorgeous purple colour now. Really pretty. And see, there's a large clump of red in there, and I'm sure there'll be a big clump of blue in there as well. I want to try and get a mixture of all the different colours. So let's get some of that red. And again, because you've got different sizes of flakes, you might get a higher concentration of different colours in different areas, depending on what size of flake that you've picked up. But I really love these Aurora Flakes. They really do look different to Gilding Flakes. Gilding Flakes are always in more of like the typical kind of metal colours, so you kind of get them more in the golds and silvers and bronzes, and then maybe a little bit of like patina colours as well. But with these Aurora Flakes you get them in all sorts of crazy wacky colours, which just makes your cards like a little bit more interesting, and people might wonder how you've done it as well. So there we go, we've got a little bit of that on there. Again, I'm going to use the Rub It Scrub It. You can actually press this more into place as well if you want to. And then just burnish in all of the excess. As well as what I was saying about how you could die cut that now, or you could have die cut it before you put the flake on and then put the flake on. You can, if you're careful, actually die cut the double-sided adhesive sheet without taking any of the backing off, and then you get your own like stickers. And that works really nicely as well. Don't try it with too much of a detailed die. I think basic shape dies or maybe like large alphabet dies work the best for that kind of thing, but you can also do that too. And then instead of just having a block of tape, you could have had a die cut shape or letter or something on here as well. Okay, that one is stunning too. I love that combination of the blue and the purple and the red together. It's really interesting. And I really love that royal kind of one with the three colours. Okay, let's use this again. So this is that dry dusting cloth that really helps. I hadn't actually tried it yet, but that is amazing. That's just cleaned off all of that excess. So if you're using Aurora Flakes, definitely grab yourself a pack of these dry dusting cloths, definitely worth it. Okay, so that's that gorgeous colour as well, which is the Passion Pop. Really pretty, those two. And just showing you the different types of tape that you can put them on, and it works equally as well on the red liner or the normal double-sided tape too, as well as the adhesive sheets. Then let's have a go with this one. It's exactly the same kind of concept, but you've just got your design built into it, and you could even try and be like a little bit precise, especially if you're just going to mix all your leftovers together. You could try and be a little bit precise and put certain colours in different places. What colour do I want to do it? I'm kind of thinking I'll probably use this to make a card afterwards, so I think I might just use the Festival Jewel, and then I think I'm going to use the next two in the next way of using the Aurora Flakes. Okay. You can also, with this sponge, you can see, this is the Rub It Scrub It, you can see it's all sort of in there. If you like run your finger along it over the bin, it does kind of come out of there. So you don't have to have one square of it for every single different colour. You can actually kind of clear some of it out of there as well. So you can see there's a bit less in there now, so it shouldn't be quite so contaminating. Not that it matters, because we're going to keep that mixture there. But this is the gorgeous Festival Jewel. Oh wow, look at those. So you've got the red, the gold and the green in here, and we've got a really chunky red bit, so I'll move that all over. See, even though this dye that we're using is a quilting dye and it's not necessarily Christmassy, adding these gorgeous Christmassy colours on top of it is going to give you like an instant Christmas background for a card, which is really nice. Okay, that should be enough. Put the lid on so we don't have an accident. Oh wow, this is really nice. I don't think I'm going to need all this, so I'm actually going to scoop some back in. It's really stunning, that colour, really pretty. And you just want to like tip off the excess, and when you're working with a larger area like this, you can just use the rub it scrub it to kind of get some of that excess off. And then we'll do our trick with the dry dusting cloth. Look how much that takes off. That is so good. You can get like Swiffer cloths as well, but I think in the UK Pledge is kind of the easiest one to get hold of, or I think it's cheaper as well. But look at that. That is amazing. I really like that. Really like all three of those. But the other two are my favourites that I've been saving because I want to combine them with glitter. And the next thing I wanted to show you is using Aurora Flakes in conjunction with glitter. So I'll be back in 1 second. Okay, so the second way of using Aurora Flakes is to combine them with glitters. And that can be the, are they called shimmer shakers? Sparkle shakers. So that can be the sparkle shakers, the polished silk glitter, the glitter bits, the diamond frost, the glitter jewels in whatever shape you like, in conjunction with the Aurora Flakes. And I thought I'd show you a couple of different examples, creating some backgrounds that I can then use for some cards later down the line. So I'm going to take a piece of card plus a piece of double-sided adhesive sheet plus that same background again cut from card, and I'm going to use a combination of the gorgeous Amber Glow Aurora Flakes, and then I thought the coral red glitter bits, isn't that like the perfect match? So I'm going to use those in conjunction with each other to create a really cool autumny corally kind of coloured background. And then I'm also going to do, I did just go and die cut that spare backing sheet from the same dies. This is the backing sheet from the double-sided adhesive sheets, and I'm going to take a piece of white card, a piece of the double-sided adhesive sheet, then I'm going to stick this onto it to act like a stencil, and I'm going to add the Aurora Flakes plus a mixture of the polished silk glitter and the sparkle shakers on top, so you're mixing the Aurora Flakes with some glitter. Then once I've taken all the excess off, I'm going to peel this away, and I'm going to use some of the diamond frost to fill in the extra areas, and possibly even some of the little stars and some of the iced crystals, or I might put some stars in with the Aurora Flakes as well. We'll see how I feel, but I'm going to go with the pink one first. So I'll move all the rest of those bits out of the way, and then I'm going to show you how to do this kind of a background. And I think I could try and isolate where I put things a little bit, so I could maybe try and aim for glitter in these kind of areas and then flakes everywhere else perhaps, or even glitter around here and flakes in these portions, or vice versa. So I'll have a see how I feel in a second. But let's just take the backing piece off of the double-sided sheet. Don't forget to save that, because you can use that for all sorts of different things. It's always useful to keep the backing. And then you want to stick this onto your cardstock. Press it down firmly. Then peel the back off of this. Then place your die cut down. This can be whatever you want. It can be multiple little die cuts as well. I'm hoping to do a sped up video where I use some flamingos on it too. Have a sentiment and also some flamingos, and then put the flakes over the top of that. So hopefully that will be up at some point as well, and I'll get a chance to film that one. So you're just using the backing sheet to help press that die cut down, so it's going to be well stuck to the adhesive. Then, how shall we do this? I want to really show off the flakes, so maybe I'll just do it random. Maybe I'll just sprinkle some glitter bits in random places and then just cover the rest with the gorgeous flakes. So this is the coral red holographic glitter bits. This is the first time I've used this as well. I might just use a little spoon for this, just because this is kind of a little bit staticky too, and it'll probably get all over my fingers as well. So we'll just do it in a few random little spots. I love the glitter bits. I know this video is the Aurora Flakes, but if you have a chance to play with some of the glitter bits, they are amazing. because they've got 3 different size particles of glitter in them. So whatever kind of technique you're doing, you've got all the particle sizes to fill up all of the areas. You've got the really tiny ones plus some more larger ones. Don't know if you can see it in there. And this holographic finish is also superb with all those different colours in there as well. So that's just sprinkling on some random bits of that. I'll press some of that more into the adhesive as well. And then we can add the Amber Glow flakes over the top, if I can find where the tape joins. There we go. Oh, maybe it goes this way. Yes. Okay, look at this. Wow. Yeah, that's definitely my favourite, I think. Really gorgeous. That's going to go absolutely perfectly with this glitter bits as well. And you can even mix your different Aurora flakes together. So you could mix one of your 2 colour ones from the previous release together with a 3 colour one as well to get some really cool effects too. Okay, I'll just do a little bit more. And then hopefully all the little excess flaky bits should fill in the rest of it, maybe a tiny bit more. But we can put any of the excess in that other pot. Or if you know you haven't contaminated it, I've just been using the same sponge and not really cleaning it that much, so I just don't want to put contaminated ones back into my pots at the moment. So you can see there some of the gold just fell out of that. I'll try and get some of that out. Okay, that should help a bit. And then we can just spread this out. That is so pretty. Okay, let's get the excess off. And then let's get that dry dusting cloth again. It's the same one that I've been using. That is absolutely beautiful. The glitter bits, they are still visible in there actually. It just kind of gives a slightly different effect in some places. You've got the little circles reflecting, but I think they go really nicely together, and that colour combination is just absolutely beautiful. Really lovely. So that is the Amber Glow, and then I've used the coral red glitter bits with it. So let's move on to the next one. I'll just tidy up and come back. Okay, so now I want to show you this kind of technique, and I'm also going to show you, instead of just putting the glitters and the flakes randomly like I just did, I'm going to show you how you can kind of have half of it like all flakes and then have it blending into the glitter, which I think it looks really gorgeous too, and that's how I did the previous card in a video that I've shown before. Now I can't get the backing off. There we go. So we'll put the sheet of adhesive onto our piece of card. Then, instead of putting a die cut from cardstock on top that we would leave in place like we just did, we're going to put a die cut from this. So I've taken this and I've die cut it, and then I've got this, which is going to act just like a stencil. You could use a stencil as well if you want to. You might want to put some perfect medium ink onto the stencil before you put it onto here, just so it doesn't like get completely stuck. You'll have like a release agent to be able to get it off easier. So we've now got that pressed nicely into place. So I want to do an ombre kind of effect, going from the flakes to the glitters and also sprinkling in a little bit of this confetti just to show something a little bit different. So I'm going to take some of this star confetti and I'm going to concentrate it more to one side where it's just going to be the glitter, and then I'll add a little bit where the flakes are going to go as well, just to make it a little bit more interesting. Then we're going to take the flakes, which is the last colour that I've got to show you, which is the icy Lagoon colour, and I'll just take the tape off. And we're going to add these to the left hand side, so I want them mostly on this side. And you don't want to add too much, because we can add a little bit more afterwards, but if you add too much you're going to just cover the whole background anyway. So if we turn it the kind of this orientation, we can then take the sponge and burnish in. I've kind of got some of that orange in here still, but anyway, it's going to have a little bit of an orangey tone to it. You can just burnish this in really nicely. It's gone very green heavy, hasn't it? I think I must have got a really big green flake in that. But anyway, there we go. We've got that whole section covered and mostly green, and now it's got some of the orange in it as well. But anyway, it gives a cool look. And then we're going to take some of this excess here and just sprinkle some of it so that it kind of fades out into the other side. And when I did this before, I actually used clear glitter, but because I want to show you a different technique where we're going to use the clear glitter, I'm going to use the coloured glitter. So I'm going to take a sparkle shaker. I've never actually used this before, so this is going to be the first time. Oh, it's really fine glitter. That's really nice. We're just going to add glitter all over this side, and we're going to use a mixture of two different colours. Oh, this one is actually called Peacock Satin. So maybe add a little bit of that over there as well. And put the lid back on that, which is now covered in the Aurora Flakes. And then this glitter is the turquoise glitter. And this is also really fine because it's their polished silk glitter. I didn't realise the sparkle shakers were the polished silk glitter as well, so that's really nice to know. Okay, a little bit more. And then we should be able to just rub all of that into place. So we can just gently rub that into the adhesive. If we need any more, we can always add it. And now we've also got those stars in there, as well as having the little bits of flake coming into it as well. So it just kind of gives like a nice transition. And we want to try and cover all of this exposed adhesive as well. It just makes life a little bit easier if there's no sticky stuff left. Okay, so now we want to clean this off, so we can use the Rub It Scrub It and also our dusting cloth, which is now really covered. I might need a second one. You just basically want to get off as much of the excess as you can. Then we will put all of this excess into our mix of different colours, which is going to have like 15 different colours in it now, which is going to be very interesting to use at the end. Okay, and I'm going to get a clean piece of paper as well, because we're now going to be using clear glitter, which I don't want to contaminate. Oh, that is looking really lovely in there. Who'd have thought 15 different colours of glitter and sparkly flakes would look that nice? Okay, so now we're doing something different, because before we just left this on because it was cardstock, but now we want to take this off because it's not actually properly stuck on there. So we want to just get a corner up and peel this away. Oh my goodness, that fine dust from the flakes and from the glitter has actually gone through the stitching holes on that die cut. That is amazing. There is actually little stitches. Isn't that so cool? That is really cool. Okay, so then I'm just going to get another piece of paper and we're going to add some clear glitter to this. This is the Diamond Frost glitter, just to fill in the rest of the adhesive. If you had just been doing this with Aurora Flakes, you could then use a contrasting colour of Aurora Flakes and fill in the design, or you could mix and match your Aurora Flakes with your Gilding Flakes, or you can use glitter bits on this portion as well, or the polished silk glitter. Anything that will stick to the double-sided adhesive you can add to fill in the rest of the design, and it just makes it obviously covers up all of the adhesive and just gives you a complete background piece, but it gives you that stunning design in it as well, and it's exactly the same as if you had used an actual stencil in here too. But when you're using the backing piece that you've die cut, it's quite nice because you don't have to be too precious, and it doesn't matter if you rip it or if it does get stuck for whatever reason. It doesn't matter too much. You're not actually going to ruin something that you've only got one of, because you've actually just die cut it from something that you would have thrown away anyway. So you can just add glitter all over. I might just add this glitter into our random mix as well to give the Aurora Flakes something a little bit different. Okay, I think that should be enough. And then we just want to rub that into the adhesive. Those stitches are actually staying. That is incredible. I am really impressed with that. That is so cool. Okay. Wow. That looks really nice. I can't believe that stitching detail is actually still in there. But you go from the Aurora Flakes, which has got some of the stars in it as well, across to the polished silk glitter, and then you've got the glitter going through the whole design where we had the backing sheet from the double-sided sheet on there as well. So that gives a completely solid background. So I'll be back in 1 second to show you how to use the Aurora Flakes with the Cosmic Shimmer Flake and Glitter Glue. Okay, so the third way of using the Cosmic Shimmer Aurora Flakes is with the Cosmic Shimmer Flake and Glitter Glue, which is basically just a slow drying adhesive that it kind of just stays open for a long time and still until something has stuck to it. So if you left it on the side and dust settled on it over like a few weeks, it would stop being sticky then, but unless something lands on it, it's going to still be sticky. And you can use it for your Aurora Flakes, your Gilding Flakes, your glitter bits, your foiling, your polished silk glitters. You can even put pixie powders on it for cool techniques as well. So there's loads of different ways of using the flake and glitter glue. It's really, really versatile, and it lasts a really long time too. You do kind of want to shake the bottle up before you use it, just in case you've left it a while and it's sort of settled a little bit. And then when I use my flake and glitter glue, I like to use it with a piece of Ranger cut and dry foam. It comes in a really large sheet like this. It's just called Cut and Dry Stamp Pad Foam. I do tend to link to this quite often because I use it all the time. And then I just cut it into little pieces whenever I need it. And you can see the size comparison. You could get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 from a row by 1, 2, or that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So what, I don't know what 8 times 8 is, I don't know my times tables, but 8 times 8 little pieces, it really makes it worth the money for this. So I've got my little piece of that ready, and the techniques I'm going to show you are kind of my favourite techniques of using the flake and glitter glue. So one of them is to take an embossed image, which this is the, what's it called? Coffee Stains embossing folder from Creative Expressions, and I've just embossed that onto some white card, and you can actually pick up the detail. It's not always perfect, but you can attempt to pick up the detail on here and then add your gilding flakes to that to give a kind of like raised foiled sort of a look. So I'm going to show you how to do that, and then I'm also going to show you how well it picks up the detail from like a detailed background stamp. This is the cracked up one from Andy Skinner, but also how you can have more of a bold stamped image like these gorgeous feathery snowflakes. I don't know whether these are available anymore because these are quite old, but I just found them in my stash and thought I would show it with that. And then I'm also going to show you how you can slightly water this down and splat with it and then leave it to dry, and you can add the flakes on top of that as well. So let's do this one first so I can leave it off to the side to dry, because it's not necessarily like drying, but you want the glue to go nice and tacky, so you kind of have to leave it just for a few minutes until it's really tacky to the touch, and then you know that everything is going to stick to it and it's not going to smudge around. Because if you tried to put the flakes on straight away and then tried to burnish it all, if the glue hadn't had a chance to set up a little bit, you would just end up smearing it all over the card. So you kind of have to wait just a little bit, to be a little bit patient with it. So I'll do all of the gluing first and then we'll come back to the flakes. But another thing, these pieces that we were just using from the double-sided adhesive sheets, keep these for putting your little sponge on, because when you're working with this, it's a really sticky glue. It's not very nice to clean off of your glass cutting mat or whatever surface you work on. So I tend to keep a piece of this backing sheet from the double-sided adhesive sheets, and I have my sponge face down onto that, so it keeps the glue on there nice and ready to work with, but it's also not sticking to your work surface. So these come in the same bottle as the Cosmic Shimmer Dries Clear PVA glue, so make sure you're getting the right one, because they do look like the same bottle, but this one does say Flake and Glitter Glue down the side. And as with the Cosmic Shimmer glue, it comes like this on the end, and you're supposed to snip off this little bit here, and that's how the glue comes out. But I tend to always use it with the foam, so I found just to like stop the risk of like the cap coming off and maybe it drying out in there, I decide just to unscrew the lid of the bottle rather than cutting that tab off of it, and then I just squeeze out a little bit onto my bit of non-stick, and then I can always scoop that back into here if I don't use it all as well. So let's just like add some to our sponge. You just kind of want to make this a sort of a glue pad, so you're just kind of working it into the sponginess of this bit of cut and dry foam. You don't want to have too much in there, but the first time you use it you kind of have to add a little bit extra into that so that it's nice and juicy to be able to work for what you want it for. So I think that looks quite good now. I don't know if you can tell. Yeah, I think you can tell that there's a little bit of glue on there. Maybe a bit more in that other corner. I think you can tell. Okay, and then we just want to really hold this with a really light hand and just try to only catch the raised areas. It is a little bit tricky to do, and I haven't done it in a while, so hopefully I can achieve the look I'm trying to show you, but it doesn't matter if it goes all over. You can actually put the flakes onto the double-sided adhesive sheets and run them through an embossing folder as well for a different look too. And you could probably also try and like sand it off as well. I don't know whether it would work, but you could give it a go and see if you could get the card back through. So you'd have a kind of a distressed look as well. Oh, and also, if you're not comfortable with using like a glue to do this kind of thing with, especially when you're using it with your stamps, you can also, you could use a perfect medium ink pad to rub over this or to stamp with. And then there is such thing as a sticky embossing powder, and that would work with these as well if you'd rather do it that way, just so you know. So I think I've managed to catch the detail in a few different places on here. So I'm going to leave that one to dry whilst we stamp with these two stamps. And then as I was saying about how you need to kind of leave it to like set up enough to put the flakes on, the most important thing when you're stamping with the flake and glitter glue is to make sure you get it off your stamp. So it doesn't matter if you walk off and leave your background. You want to prioritise cleaning your stamp off rather than, you know, playing with the background. You can come back to that easily, but you definitely want to make sure it's off of your stamp because it's a really sticky, it's glue, isn't it? You don't really want to leave glue on your stamp. So let's first go with the cracked up one, which is a really fine detail stamp. And we're just gonna, you can see on the stamp actually, it kind of goes on a blue colour. Don't want to take too long doing this, but it kind of goes on a blue colour, and then you can just about see that on the cardstock. I don't think it will come across on camera, but you can just about see that on the cardstock once you stamped with it, and you want to make sure it's gone clear before you try to put your flakes on it, and you can't see any of that blue tinge to it left. So we've got that, and we don't want to leave this on the card for too long either. You want to like make sure you've got everywhere pressed and then pull it up, because otherwise it's going to stick to it because it is glue. You can actually see that blue tint just, so you just want to make sure you can't see any of that, and then that's when you know that you could put the flakes on there. So to clean this, you can go to the sink and use like an old toothbrush and some soapy water and really clean this, but if you are lazy like I am, a baby wipe or like a damp cloth or something that you don't mind getting the glue on works just as well, and then you can always go and give it a better clean later on. That should do for now. And then let's have a go with this boulder stamp as well. I'll stamp a few of them, I think. And when you hear people say you've got to clean it off quickly, it doesn't mean that, say you were batch making some Christmas cards and you wanted to stamp this 10 times, you could ink it up with the glue, stamp it, ink it up with the glue, stamp it all of the times you need, and then go and wash it. You don't have to wash it in between each application of the glue, if that makes sense. It's fine to do a few stampings at a time and then clean it off. Okay, so let's go one. Oh, nearly dropped it. This one might have an extra bit of blue in it because I have a feeling I stamped with pixie powders with it at some point, and there's some little bits of blue pixie powder in there. So I can probably get a tiny bit more of this at the bottom there as well, because this might make a cool background actually. I mean, this was just going to be a test piece to show you, but actually having the crackle going into the snowflakes, I think that would make a pretty cool Christmassy background for a card. Okay, that should be good. And then the final thing is the splatting, and you do need to leave this to dry longer, so I'm going to splat it now, and then we can come back to that one last. So how I do this splatting is, I probably don't need quite that much glue. I can put a little bit of this back in here, and how you put it back in is you just scoop it up onto the foam and then just scrape it in there as well. You might even be able to get a bit out of the sponge, you know, where you've saturated the sponge, you might be able to get a bit back out of that as well. And if you leave that face down, you can come back to it in the next few days and keep using it. You can come back to it much later. I do often do that. And it just kind of gets like a film over the top of it, and you can kind of peel it off and use the foam again, just to sort of keep reusing it. But it will still be sticky. It kind of gets a film, but it will still be sticky because it doesn't dry. So anyway, to make this more of like a loose consistency to be able to splat with it, we want to take a spray bottle of water, and then where we've just had that excess out on here, we can just add a few squirts of water onto it, mix it up with a paintbrush. We're going to want to wash this paintbrush really thoroughly, but just mix it up with a paintbrush just to get it kind of a really loose consistency, and then we can splatter it on. And as well as splattering, if you're good with your brush lettering or drawing and stuff, you could even try and draw things with it too. So I've just drawn a heart there. So I'll leave all this to dry and I'll be back to show you the flakes on top of it. Okay, so I think these are all dry now. And colour wise, I do really love this one, the Amber Glow. So I think I'm going to go with the Amber Glow on this one, and we can see what it looks like. Hopefully it will just pick up in the raised areas where I added the adhesive. And we shouldn't need too much because it's just like a little bit of detail on here. So maybe just do like this much and see if that's enough. I can't remember exactly where I added the glue, so and I'm also getting green out of the sponge too, so we're going to have a mishmash of colours again. Okay, so there are a few areas where I had been a bit too heavy-handed with the glue and it's gone into the lower down pieces, but I think that looks so good. And if you added some Colour Cloud ink blending over the top of that, or if you added in some extra stamping and stuff, maybe bring the crackle stamp in and stamp some little crackly areas just in a colour of ink, I think that would make a stunning background as it is. And you can do it with all sorts of different embossing folders. If you picked one that was slightly more uniform and maybe more of an all-over pattern, maybe, if I got something here. Yeah, maybe if I, oh no, that's a 3D one. I don't know whether the 3D ones would work as well because they've got like more curved edges on them. But maybe if I had gone for like this one, there's less chance for it to get in the down in between areas because it's more of like an overall raised pattern. So if you want a perfect look, you could try that kind of style of embossing folder, but I do really like this distressed, messy kind of a look that you can get. So I really love how that turned out. So let's tidy this up. We can put this in here again. It really is looking nice, that mixture. There is literally 15 colours in there. Okay, let's wipe this off. And I'll just use the other side. So, I want to do this one in blue, so I think I'm going to use the blue and green one again, which is the Icy Lagoon, but that sponge is really red. I've got my silver sponge in here. I might try and take a bit out of that and then use that one instead, just to try and keep this really more bluey green tones. And we'll try and pick out more blue this time because it got very green last time. And we've got the crackle on one side and we've got those bold snowflakes on the other side. So I should be able to show you the difference, or like how well these or how well the glue stamps to enable you to still pick up that really fine detail with the flakes. Look how beautiful that's picked it up. That's really good. I love doing this kind of thing over an inky background. So if I've like ink blended all over a background, to make it like a little bit more special, I like stamping with that flake and glitter glue and adding like this kind of thing over the top. Look at that. It looks so stunning. It really looks like foiling, as if you used a foiling machine, but that is how fine a detail you can get with the combination of the flake and glitter glue and these Aurora flakes. Or you can go for more of a bold detail and you really see the different colours in the areas because multiple flakes have been able to stick to those larger areas as well. So that is how you can do picking up the detail on an embossing folder or stamping with the flake and glitter glue to get this gorgeous flaky effect. And then with this excess that I've got out here, I'm going to do that little heart that I drew. Because we watered it down, it's not like 100% sticking on there, and some of the tiny little flakes have gotten onto that first. But these little speckles should hopefully have worked well. I usually do this kind of speckling technique if I had like those snowflakes. If I'd stamped them onto an inky background that I'd done, I would then use a paintbrush and splatter on some of it as well. Oh, drop my cloth on the floor. That looks really nice as well. So that's just using the glue watered down a little bit so you get a speckled effect, and then also painting with that watered down effect. And as the glue was kind of thinner here, it's sort of picked up the really fine particles of flakes rather than the thicker pieces. But that is really gorgeous as well. So that is the third way of using the Cosmic Shimmer Aurora Flakes, and I'll be back in 1 second to show you the fourth way. Okay, so my fourth way of using these Aurora Flakes is kind of just going to be an explanation plus me trying something else to try and make the effect work. Laminating. I think if you sprinkled some of these into laminating sheets, like I showed maybe 3 years ago now, how you can sprinkle like star and heart-shaped confetti into laminating pouches and then run it through your laminator. I'm pretty certain you could do that with these Gilding or these Aurora Flakes as well, but I haven't actually got a laminator anymore. I will have to invest in one so I can try that. But I thought of another way that you could try and recreate that kind of feel so that you could use these in window cards and have like that gorgeous foiled flaky effect but still have a see-through kind of look to it. So which colour do I want to go with? Yeah, I will go with this one, the Festival Jewel. I thought just to give it a try and see if we can achieve the look. I've just got 2 pieces of acetate, and I thought if we took, it's already sticking to the other side of this acetate, but I thought if we took the acetate like this, and then if we take some red liner tape, I'll just do 6mm width because it's the easiest one to get to. Add some acetate, add some adhesive all the way around the edge of the acetate. And then basically the idea is going to be you're kind of creating a flat shaker card, or you're creating a way of putting these gorgeous flakes on a card for somebody who maybe doesn't like the feel of anything kind of glittery, or you know they really wouldn't like it if some of it came off on their hands. This will be a way to kind of encapsulate it so that none of it is going to come off, and it will all sort of be held in between the two pieces of acetate. So I think I'm going to take the tape off first. And then we'll have a go at just sprinkling in a few of the flakes and then trapping it. I know this is going to be probably quite a nightmare with the staticness, and when we put the other piece of acetate over the top, I can imagine they're probably going to jump up onto the top piece of acetate because of the static, but we'll see how it goes. I just thought it would be quite a cool idea. So let's try and get an even amount, and because these are so kind of staticky, they should just cling nicely in different areas on here too, which is good. And you can sort of like pepper it around a bit more so that it could be more like falling snow as well, even though it's not snow coloured, but you know what I mean, it could be that kind of, or flying confetti kind of effect. So have a little bit more green without getting too much. And you want to do like a mixture of more concentrated areas and then more sparse areas. I think that will look nice. You could even trap a sentiment in here as well. If I had one already die cut, I would put that in as well, because I think that would look really cool. But so we'll do that, and then we'll take the second piece of acetate and try and sandwich these in between. Yep, they're all jumping up to the other piece. I thought that would happen. Then we just squish them between. But I think this would be 100% easier if you had a laminator and you could squash them in between that. But I think that just gives a really cool effect, that then you can cut an aperture in your card and hide this inside the front of the card to give you this kind of almost snowfall kind of effect, but with this gorgeous Aurora Flakes in there. So that one is really quick. That's number 4, the 4th way of using it, just because I haven't got a laminator, so it made it quicker just to show you this. But that is the 4th way. And then the 5th way, and the final way that I'm going to show you, is how to combine it with kind of like wet mediums. So I'll be back in 1 second with the final and 5th way of using the Aurora Flakes. Okay, so my 5th and final way of using these Aurora Flakes, there are tons more ways, but these were just the 5 kind of ways that I thought of. And sorry if this video is really long. I feel like I've been talking for at least 2 hours, but hopefully it's not as long as that. But anyway, this is the 5th technique, or like idea of ways to use them, and I did this in a video a little while ago. It was a mum themed card, and I had stuck white die cuts of the word mum all over the background, and then I'd used some acrylic paints, and then I decided I wanted something sparkly in it, so I picked out some of the Aurora Flakes and spread them over the wet paint, and they stayed stuck in it. So I thought I would test that with a couple of different colours here first, and then I also wanted to try mixing the flakes with a clear texture paste, which is the soft white one from Cosmic Shimmer, and also just the Cosmic Shimmer Dries Clear PVA glue, and see if we can get some different effects with that. I will have to come back with clips to show it dried though, so we won't, well, you will see that instantly. I will have to wait a few hours. But I just wanted to show you that too. So let's apply the paint in some different ways actually as well. So I'm going to apply it once with a paintbrush and once with a brayer, just to show a different texture of paint as well. So, and these are 2 of Cosmic Shimmer paints. This one's actually a fabric paint, so I wanted to see if that would work, and this is one of their metallic luster paints in coral and petrol blue are the 2 colours, but I thought they'd go nicely with some of the Aurora Flakes. So let's go with the fabric paint, and we will brayer some of this on. With the brayer you get this kind of almost like feathered, veiny kind of a texture. So it will give a really interesting background to your card. And when I'm doing this kind of thing, I use a piece of card that is slightly bigger than what I would use it as on a card. if you know what I mean, so that I could trim any excess off if I don't like the messy edges from this kind of a technique. And I'm just going to clean my brayer as well. Okay, that should do. And then I'm going to put some of this paint, actually I'll put the flakes in this first just in case this paint dries quickly. This is going to be the Passion Pop colour because it's got some blue in it, so I thought this might go quite nicely. And I'm just going to sprinkle the flakes in really. And they should stick to the paint, and then we'll get this gorgeous like encrusted kind of paint look, which will look really lovely. And these colours actually go really nicely together. We don't want to do it all over. I think it's nice just to have a sort of cascading element down the card and not quite all over everywhere. So that should do for that, and we can just gently tap some of them down so they're kind of sticking into the paint a little bit more. Okay, so we will leave that one to dry and see how that turns out. Then I need to wipe my hands because they're a bit messy. And then we will apply the paint with a paintbrush. This is one of the Dina Wakley ones, which has a really nice stiff bristle, so you get all of those brush strokes in your paint as well, which I really like. So we'll do some of this coral colour, which I think will go perfectly with that amber glow. And we want to apply it kind of thickly so you get those cool brush strokes in there, and also so you've got kind of more of a thicker layer so that the flakes have got something decent to kind of grab onto and stick to. And again, we'll just do kind of like a cascading bit down one side of the card. And we can just tap some of this into place. I think that gives a really nice effect. And we'll leave that one to dry and see how it looks once we can brush off all of the excess as well. Okay, then the final two ways I was thinking of, we're going to need that piece of backing paper again because we can mix onto this and use it as like a palette. And I wanted to see how it would work if you mix the flakes in with like a clear texture paste, whether they would still keep their sparkle, and also with just a normal like PVA glue. This is the gorgeous Cosmic Shimmer one. I love their glue. But I just wanted to see if they still kept their sparkle or whether it kind of gets dulled by the medium as well. But I'm going to have to wait to see how this turns out. But I thought it would be quite a nice experiment to do. So this is the soft white texture paste, which I thought was white, but it is actually clear. It does dry clear, which is kind of confusing from the name, unless I've just got a pot that had the wrong name on the bottom, I'm not sure, but it seems to dry clear when I've used it. So I'm going to just scoop some of that out, and I'm going to try and get the lid back on properly. Why is that not going on? Oh, I'll figure that out later. I'm going to scoop in some of the Royal Sparkle and mix that into the texture paste. And you could do this more, like add more to get more of like a dense look, or add less to get more of like a sparse look, because I'm aiming on just spreading this onto a piece of card to see how it kind of turns out. Okay, so we can just spread this. There's kind of a clump in there of a silver flake, but I think this is going to give a really cool look. And I think it's going to be a really different way of using these flakes, and obviously if it works, you could do it with your Gilding Flakes as well, or any of the original Aurora Flakes that just have the two colours in, or you can mix them too. So that is that, which hopefully should dry clear, and I'll come back to this later. And then I also wanted to try just with glue to see what that like what kind of result that would give, and I'm going to use the Icy Lagoon for that, I think. So just normal Cosmic Shimmer Dries Clear PVA glue, and I'm just going to squirt a dollop out onto here. That should be plenty. And then add a little bit of the Icy Lagoon into it. And mix that in. Definitely a different consistency to the texture paste, but it's kind of like a thinner medium because it's just a glue rather than something that would dry three-dimensional. Okay, and we'll just do a smaller amount of this because I don't think I've mixed up quite as much. We could maybe have it fading off a little bit over this side. There we go. So we will leave that one to dry as well. I'm also just going to use up our leftovers to show you that, and then so I'll be back in 1 second. So I thought what would be a really cool idea of using up all of the like 15 colour messy scraps that we've got would be to take a piece of the double-sided adhesive sheet and tear it, and then add it onto the acetate, and then use it to create the front of a greetings card. So maybe even if I do it this way, I could literally just fold it in half and create a greetings card out of it. I think that would be quite a unique kind of way of using these, hopefully. So we could just stick it about here. And we're going to need to chop off the excess because, whoa, nearly had an accident then. Okay, so if I just chop off this excess. And remember, we've got a bit of glitter in there as well, because that's literally just every single scrap that we've had. So there might even be some confetti in there too, the little star confetti. Okay, so that is nicely stuck onto there. We'll see how this ripped edge comes out as well. Yeah, I think that looks quite nice having that ripped edge. It's gone a little bit rucked up there, but I can straighten that out and then cut the excess off. There we go. Okay, and then all we're going to do is just add our random mix all over it. So you make sure it's nice and mixed up, and then just tip it on. Oh, all the glitter was at the bottom. Okay, and then I'll just use this red sponge that I was using. So you'll probably get a few cards out of this. Actually is quite sheer as well. I think that gives quite a cool look with all those different colours in there. And you could put a different colour of cardstock behind it too, like for the inside of the card. I mean, if you put white, you're just sort of getting more of the colours, or you could try black or a mirror card behind it too. It's very like grainy with hardly any big flakes because it's all of our leftovers, but I do think that's quite a cool way of using it up. So I'll leave you there just for now, but I will be back for you in a few seconds to show you how those other backgrounds dried and then end the video as well. Okay, so let's see what these ones look like now it's dried. We can burnish off the excess. Majority of it should have stayed on there, I think. And then I think we'll need our dusting cloth to get that last little bit off. But that looks really lovely, just having them randomly placed in the wet paint. You could just use this, like a small portion of this, behind like a circle aperture and have like a stamped image or something around it. You could also die cut this into a shape. You could use it to die cut your sentiment from. You could use it as a whole panel like this, add some like more stamping coming onto it, maybe even heat embossing over the top, and just create a really cool more like arty mixed media-y kind of looking background for a card. Then the other one is this one. Let's take the excess off of that. The only reason there is that much excess coming off is because we couldn't completely press this in or burnish it because the paint was still wet. But you get a gorgeous look with this paint as well. So the fabric paint and the, is it luster? No, yeah, metallic luster paints from Cosmic Shimmer both work really nicely. I think any acrylic paint would work nicely to stick these flakes to, and you can always emboss your card first, then add the paint to it and get the flakes to lay onto it as well. Or you can do what I did in that previous video that I was talking about before, where I had die cut dies from white card and stuck them on to the white card, so it kind of looked like a faux embossing folder look, but just using die cuts rather than an embossing folder. And then I added the paint on and added the flakes in. So you can step this technique up a little bit. And there's also like the difference between brayering it on or using a stiff bristled paintbrush. With the paintbrush one, you can be more controlling about where you put the paint on the card, and you get those kind of straight lines of where the bristles were in the brush. But for the brayering one, you kind of get a little bit more of that veining kind of texture that you can see here, but depending on how thick you add the paint. But you do need not a really thick amount of paint, but enough that it's stayed wet long enough for you to get the flakes onto it so that they can dry into the paint. So that is those ones dry to show you. And then these ones, they're not 100% dry, but this is the texture paste one, and look, you can still see all of that sparkly goodness from the flakes, and you can still see all the sparkle from just mixing it in with glue as well. And this kind of technique, you could add this on top of a patterned paper to make it look a bit more fancy. You could have already done an inky background and then spread this over the top, or you could actually ink over the top of these, which would give a completely different look, because this would kind of act as a resist because it's got that kind of plasticity of the texture paste or the glue. Or similarly, you could have spread this through a stencil, especially the texture paste, through a stencil, and then you could have inked over the top of it when it was dry, and then you would have had this gorgeous sparkly stuff within a design on the card as well, rather than just all over. So I definitely think that combining the Aurora Flakes with some kind of wet medium, whether it is an acrylic paint, a clear texture paste, or a clear PVA glue, will, you know, it gives even more possibilities. And you could die cut these as well if you wanted to, or you could have it behind an aperture. You could just have that as like a subtle kind of background behind an aperture that will just catch the light at different angles with the sparkle on there as well. And that also gives you a nice glossy finish with the texture paste, because it's a really clear glossy kind of a paste, which is nice too. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I have a feeling it is extremely long, so hopefully there are still some people here at the end of it. But I really hope you enjoyed all these different, like, well, I've done it 5 ways, but then I've added like another 5 ways in each of the 5 ways, so it's quite a lot of different ways of using it. But I think it's a helpful video to refer back to for any of your gilding flakes, for the Aurora flakes, or even just for glitters as well. It just gives you more ideas of how you can use them, and also how you can use your double-sided adhesive sheets and your flake and glitter glue and all that kind of stuff as well. It just jogs your memory basically, and just gives you, or maybe makes you think of more different ways that you could use your Aurora flakes and stuff. I'm sure there is way more ways of using them than the 5 that I've shown you, but I'll just run through what I did show you. So we had, right in the beginning, we were doing really basic, just using it onto the adhesive sheet, using it onto different types of double-sided sticky tape, like double-sided sticky tape, red liner tape, all that, and then also showing you how you can stick your patterned die cut on top of the adhesive first, and then adding the flakes through. Then stepping it up to the second way of using them is in conjunction with glitters, and this one we added a bit of glitter bits in different places of a very similar colour tone, so it's not so obvious, and mixing them in with the flakes as well. Then we stepped this up even further and had confetti sprinkled on first, and then the flakes, and then blending it into glitters. And also, before we're doing that, we stuck down that die cut piece of the backing of the double-sided adhesive sheet, so it's acting like a stencil. And then once we had burnished all this in, we removed it and then added the clear glitter to finish off the design by covering the rest of the adhesive. Then the third way of using them I showed you in conjunction with the flake and glitter glue, the way you can use it on the cut and dry foam and spread it over the top of an embossing folder. You could be much more careful than this and not get it in the background, or you can go for this messy kind of effect. I also showed you how you can stamp with the flake and glitter glue, either with more of a bolder design or more of a fine detail design, and it still picks up all that gorgeous detail with the flakes. And then also showing you, where did that piece go? Oh, here. And then also showing you how you can slightly water down that flake and glitter glue and splatter it, or even like paint your own details with it as well, and still get that flake design on there. Then the fourth way was supposed to be showing you how you can laminate the flakes, but equally, if you don't have a laminator, just get 2 pieces of acetate, put the red liner tape all the way around the edge, put some flakes in the middle, sandwich them between the two, and then you've instantly got this gorgeous sparkly acetate that you can sandwich in a window card or have as the front of a shaker, and you could have other elements moving behind in the shaker as well. And then the final way was what we just ran over, which was using the flakes with some kind of wet medium, whether it is like a pearlescent, or it can be a flat acrylic paint as well, or using it with some kind of other wet medium like a clear 3D texture paste, or just with glue as well, and all of them give fantastic results. So I hope you enjoyed this 5 ways to use Aurora Flakes video, and thank you so much if you have stuck around right till the end of this video, because it is a really long one, but I hope it was helpful to you. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again in the next video. Bye!